So, yes, I will be sharing about my trip to Las Vegas. I spent a little over a week in Las Vegas and had a lot of interesting experiences that I will share. I have quite a few videos and stuff that you guys are going to want to see, and I realize this pulpit's kind of big, so you may wish to migrate over here where you can see the screen better. So the first video that I'm going to show you guys, it's 10 minutes long, so just bear with me here. It's the making of the statue, which is pretty cool. So I hope you enjoy that.
That's not good. We're hitting something. Hope it ain't metal. I hope it isn't metal.
Look like little marbles. Wow, not much.
Some kind of metal that was drove in there.
Is that what it is?
Yep. See
Wow.
it? Right there.
Looks like a spike.
Looks like a spike drove in there. About that big around. Right in the middle.
You're gonna have to work around that thing, won't you?
Well, we went through it. We went through
Yeah.
part of it.
actually had several really neat experiences where people would come up and ask, what is it? It's like we had a carver, he carved this kind of stuff, and he came up and he was like, oh, that was a redwood, like, that's incredible, how they did everything, and so we were able to tell him about Daniel too. We had one black lady came up and she was just on fire. She was so excited about what we were doing. She said, I just live down the road, and she came one time and brought a few friends, and she was really excited. We had one guy, he was a Jehovah's Witness, and he was like, this is really interesting. I know what all those are. Those are the kingdoms, you know, because someone asked me, oh, do you know what it means? And I was like, yeah, I know. And so it was really, really interesting how this really brought the attention of people to us, which is what we need, especially in something as big as Las Vegas, right? So this is what it looks like now. It's been painted with the colors of the metals.
So did they move it to Las Vegas?
Yes. Oh, I missed that part. Yeah. So what happened? So what happened is, so they built the statue in Idaho, and then they got a man from Quebec to engineer a trailer just for this. So that's what he did. You can see the bottom part of this right here. These come up, these detach. The whole thing lays down on a trailer. It's incredible. It's incredible what they went through to make it work, but it works.
It's really great on wheels.
So,
I've done those before.
yeah, we helped set it up twice. So yeah. So
So was it one man's idea? Somebody had an idea and they...
Yes,
Don Frost.
Okay.
And it's interesting because he showed us some, I wish I had the quotes right now, but I don't. He showed us some quotes of how Ellen White endorsed things like this, where it would bring the attention, it would help the imagination kind of liven up as far as what was actually happening, and it would be a teaching tool. So they actually made some on Ellen White's day of the different beasts of Revelation and stuff like that. Much smaller, not this big, right?
Were the guys operating the chainsaws along people there, were they volunteers or did
They were volunteers. Yeah. So Don Frost, you probably saw at the end of the video, it said send donations to heal their land. That's a ministry made up of ministries that Don Frost kind of heads. So,
How long did it take them to make it?
well, they started last fall and worked through the winter.
9 months.
And then they loaded it on the trailer for the very first time the week before they went to Las Vegas with it, like a few days before. So.
Are they using it maybe as a sticking tool?
Yes. So right now it's sitting at a church in Las Vegas, and they're doing an evangelistic series right now. And then when they're done with that, there's some other ideas about where to take it. They want to take it to Burning Man, which is a art thing, a pagan art festival, pretty much in Nevada. So it's already there. It's close. Burning Man happens in September. It would totally fit in there. So they're looking into that. They're looking into bringing it to Nashville. They want to take it to Salt Lake City. They want it to be used wherever it can be. Since it's so portable, you know. I mean, you still have to travel there with it, but you know.
Dominique, have you talked to that conference about having a camp meeting? They bought
Hope camp meeting?
Yeah, they bought the sanctuary. Remember that way they bought the sanctuary so people
Oh.
could see it? And the conference pays for that sort of stuff, so you might want to.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Every church that gets it does pay for the transport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what it costs for them to set up that sanctuary.
He wants it to be used on the West Coast as much as possible now while it's already here.
I think it's worth sending an email.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, how did Don Frost meet us? There were 4 of us in our group, and this is Don over here, and this is our group. We were just hanging out as friends, and we played some special music and he heard it, and my mom overheard him saying that he didn't have any music planned. No one was ready and willing to do music for the event that he was doing in Las Vegas, and it was only 2 weeks away. And so Mom didn't tell him anything, came to me, said,
I said, I'll be right back.
oh. She came and found the four of us and said to me specifically, but hoping that the rest of them would be able to come as well, would you be willing to do music for their event? And I thought about it, and I was like, 2 weeks away, can I make it happen, you know? And I said yes. So, and thankfully, their parents were able to send them as well. They're all homeschooled, so they didn't have to get out of school for it at least.
Is it
Yes.
available on YouTube?
Which?
Picture?
This picture?
Yeah, I mean, a movie.
Oh, the video, yes, it's in 4 parts though. Yeah, and it's Great Image Media is their YouTube channel. Yeah. So, we arrived on Wednesday. Thursday we did some shopping and stuff that was needed. I should tell you, that's me, of course, Alicia, Andrew, and Andrew. And I called the second Andrew Honchko because it was easier. It's kind of his last name anyways. So Friday was our very first time to set up the statue. And it was quite interesting to watch it all come up. It takes a really long time for the hydraulic to push up that much weight. But it was very fun to be a part of that, getting set up at the Paradise Church, which is one of 2 or 3 Seventh-day Adventist churches within Las Vegas. And while we were setting it up, this sundog happened right over the statue, and to us it was just kind of like a little bit of a sign from God saying, hey, you know, this is what I want to happen, this is what I want you guys to do, this is, you have my blessing, kind of a thing. So, Sabbath we spent at the church and played music and stuff. Sunday, we went to go take down the statue again and move it over to the Alexis Park Resort where everything else was going to take place. Good morning, people. Today is Sunday. A lot of stuff to do today, especially AV stuff. They just took down the image from the church. They're bringing it here right now. We got a couple GH5s ready. Mark is out on the road out there. Gonna try to get some footage from out there. We got some cameras set up to do some time lapses. And yeah, we're gonna video the whole setup of the image. So you can kind of see here. Let's see if I can go back.
So much red tape to, like, you have to get a permit or anything?
Yeah, well, so the Alexis Park Resort has a constant permit for this kind of thing. So thankfully for that, we didn't have to do any extra work with that. But
Looks
yeah.
like it's all under legal size for a load going down the highway and everything, so it's probably easy to move around and not hurt
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah.
It just looks like it's highway length, size, width, so.
It's, yeah. What's really cool, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it says Babylon here, Medo-Persian here, Greece down, like, so each one has already on it what kingdom is representing, which is a helpful piece. As well, on Sunday, we set up 12 tents for a health expo, and we set up 6 camera for the Daniel 11 Symposium, it was a bit of a roundtable debate on the Daniel 11. There's a little bit of a debate going on about whether it should be symbolic or literally taken. And I'd like to do a bit of a synopsis of that sometime in the future, but not today. So we just had a knot tying lesson because these things, we're tying them down to these cinder blocks down here. And so we need some good stable knots. So we're doing a bow line up here, and then some other kind of hitch, I don't know what, down here. Anyway, so it's kind of fun. So you can kind of see the image back there. It's like, if you try to take a selfie with it, you're only gonna get like the toes right at your head. Like everything else is like really, really tall. And it was quite handy when you're doing outreach because you could say, this is only about a 10-minute walk away from the Las Vegas Strip. So we could say, hey, have you seen that really big statue? They're like, yeah, what is that thing all about? You know, like they were really, really interested in it. So then on Monday, first day of the Daniel 11 Symposium, and we spent 6 hours behind the cameras.
Rome, but we know that Daniel 8 in the Lukewarm doesn't give us a separate symbol for political Rome and papal Rome.
Just a little snippet of what it was like to be behind the camera. Las Vegas is a tough crowd. We had some people try to do some outreach, but so many times, you know, you try to give them a flyer and they're like, I'm not going to even be here tomorrow, you know. Or, you know, they'll just totally ignore you entirely, you know, or whatever. So it can be a really, really tough crowd, especially if you're only giving flyers out. And we had our first day of the evangelistic series, which is in the evening, and it was about an hour and a half long. And it was the same 2 talks every night for 3 nights in a row. That way, you know, for people who weren't there the day before or whatever, they can still see the same thing. And we had only about 2 or 3 people that came that were from the area, not from the church or anything like that. So that was a little disappointing. And then Tuesday, Don said, you know what? Enough of this. Ditch the cameras, ditch the Daniel 11 Symposium. We're doing outreach all day long. And we're like, okay. So we left one guy, his name was Mark, with the cameras and said, okay, you film the Daniel 11 Symposium by yourself, deal with it. You know, I don't know how you're going to do it, but you can do it. And we went to the Las Vegas Strip on one of the hottest days of the whole month. It was 93 degrees, very sunny, it was quite warm. And we passed out flyers along with 440 water bottles. So we had a big ice chest and we just passed out water bottle flyer, water bottle flyer, water bottle flyer for 3 solid hours. And we played a lot of music and we got in trouble twice. And I'm going to tell you those stories in a second. So down here, this little red circle, this is where we were playing. We started out up here and then we ended up over here. And that big blue pond is the Bellagio. So we were right there, right on the strip with a lot of flow of traffic. This is a closer up picture. And that blue arrow is where we started. You can see a little arrow showing pizza. That's going to come up in a second. So this is our first location. For about an hour, and there wasn't a ton of traffic. It was about 10, 11 in the morning, something like that, about 10, and not a lot of people were out yet. It wasn't very hot. You can see we're very shaded there, and so not a lot was happening, but it was a spot, so we stuck with it. And then the Planet Hollywood, which is where we were right in front of, security came out and said, you can't be here because this is private property. We're like, oh, okay, fine. We have to go find another spot now. So we walked down that way and ended up at this purple arrow down there, which is right underneath. You've got escalators here and here, and this is the Sky Bridge. So we ended up right underneath those 3. Which was an excellent location because especially since this escalator was broken, so if anyone wanted to come, they had to go down here and then walk this way, which is where the rest of the strip was. So they had to walk right by us. So there were these big columns, so we kind of tucked ourselves out of the way a little bit because one of the rules in Las Vegas, because there's so many people, is that you can't impede traffic. So we kind of tucked ourselves out of the way, and we were able to play there for another 2 hours. And after we got moved, the the manager of the pizza company sent us 4 free pizzas as a thank you for what we were doing there, which was incredible because we looked up the price of those pizzas and it was like $40 a pizza or something crazy like that. Okay, things are going crazy. The wind is blowing our papers, but that's okay. So we've been playing non-stop for the past 2 hours and 2.5 hours, passing out free ice cold water to everyone here, and this is one of the hottest days of the month in Las Vegas right now, the next 2 days as well. And so yeah, we're passing out water and giving them invitations to come see the statue tonight, and it's going amazingly well.
Station, get your free water. Ice cold water, hot summer day.
So that was Enoch in the back there. I don't know what we would have done without him because the rest of us were kind of shy, just kind of in the corner. And he was like, hydration station, everyone, you got the thirst, we got the quench, you know. Like, passing out flyers like there was no tomorrow. He was great. So, oh, I forgot to tell you about the getting in trouble part here. So, we were on public property. This is no private property issue. And we were out of the way, so we weren't really an issue as far as impeding traffic or anything. We weren't actually breaking any laws, but there was still, after 2 hours of being there, a policeman came up to us and said we had to move. Actually, I think he was like, we had to quit. And so Don talked to him, thankfully Don was there, and said, okay, well, you know, like what rules are we breaking kind of a thing, and he gave an excuse, and Don said, well, you know, we can move further out the way if we need. And he gave another excuse, and he like went through the list, and Don was like, he just doesn't want us here anymore, and I'm not going to argue because I could end up in the back of his cab. So, he said, okay, well, can the kids continue what they're doing, passing out free water, while I go get the truck? And so the policeman said yes. So he and 2 other buddies stood watch while we passed out water bottles and flyers, and Don walked very slowly to the truck to go get it for us. So we got to be there probably another 20 minutes, maybe 20, 30 minutes while he went and got the truck. And so that was our second day of the Evangelic series, and we had about 5 or 6 attendees. So we like doubled, which was great. Then on Wednesday we didn't do as much outreach in the morning. We had planned to, but we're like, maybe with the whole police thing, maybe we should just let it be for another day. So we ended up visiting a 10-acre parcel that's for sale right now, but it's owned by a Seventh-day Adventist. And it's 30 million an acre. Because it's in prime territory. Take a look at this. I don't know if you guys would recognize this, but that's Circus, which is one of the oldest resorts and casinos still standing in Las Vegas. A lot of the old ones have been torn down and replaced by new ones, but that one is still standing. It still has all the old columns and everything, and it's really, really cool. So that brings a lot of attraction, especially since it's only $18 a night to stay there. So it's really, really cheap. And then that green arrow is the Resort World that they're just building. It should be done being built in December. And it's going to be a really big attraction as well for families, because they're going to have different sections around the hotel, like representing like the Philippines and Cuba and stuff like that. It'll be like a little tiny piece of each of those places in the world. So they'll have like jeepneys and all kinds of cool stuff that'll be really attracting to families. This red circle right here is that 10-acre parcel. There used to be some casino or something there, and then it got torn down. So we're right where the main flow of traffic is gonna be soon. It's not yet because they're still building that place, but there's gonna be a lot of traffic there soon. That's this little brown arrow. I don't know if you can see that green right there. is right on the walkway. And it's big enough to put the statue there. So what we want to do is sometime in the future, not sure when, but what we want to put the statue there and have screens showing videos about the Daniel 2 image, maybe have like a vendor permit where we can sell smoothies and stuff, and then have people stationed there as well, handing out literature and just talking to people about what this statue means. So that's the hope in the future for Las Vegas. In the afternoon, after we saw that 10-acre parcel, we finally had an organized outreach. I was like, okay, let's do this. We can do this. So we announced at the Daniel 11 Symposium meetings, meet at the tent at 3:30, and 14 people came. And we had some really amazing stories to share. I sent a couple people to this apartment building and a couple people down the road to the university and stuff like that. So for me and my partner Andrew, he speaks Russian. And we happened upon the only lady in the apartment building complex that only spoke Russian. She's like, I don't speak English, I'll speak Russian. And so I was the one talking to her, and I just like stepped back. Like, Hanshka, take it away. So that was a really, really cool experience. Really cool for him too, because he hasn't done a lot of outreach, and so that was really great that he got to have that experience. Lori, we met her actually on Tuesday, but I didn't get to talk to her much. She came to the event, and she said, when I met her on Wednesday, she said how amazing it was. She was so glad that she came. She said, I wanted to come tonight, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to. And she said, but I've been reading my Bible all day long. And she was just very on fire about it. So that was a really cool experience to see that happen. I also got a call Wednesday afternoon from one of the other groups, and he said, someone said we're not supposed to be soliciting and that they're going to call the manager. What should I do? And I said, well, keep going to rooms, don't stop. And if a manager comes, then you stop. And well, no manager came, and it turned out actually that we were at the same spot, just a slightly different area. And the manager actually, we were knocking on a door, and she poked her head out and was like, no one lives in that one. Go to the next one. So it was like, it was really cool that it worked out that way. That the manager was, even if that person did call the manager, she would have just been like, nah, it's fine. So that was really neat. On the third day of the evangelistic series, we had about 8 or more attendees, which still seems like a really small number, but considering we started out with 2 and we were in Las Vegas, this was huge. And 2 of them was a guy that we had actually knocked on his door. And he was not one of the most enthusiastic. There were actually others that were like, yeah, I'm definitely coming tonight, and they didn't show up. But he was like, oh, okay, thank you. And then closed the door and went back inside, and we're like, okay, moved on. And then he showed up, and I'm like, I think that's him. Because we had special music to do, so we were like, we had to stay up near the front, and then as soon as that was over, we're like, let's go sit with him. So we went back and sat with him, and there was another lady as well that one of the other groups recognized. We're like, hey, we knocked on her door today. So they got to go sit with her too. So it was really neat to see the fruit of our labors come.
So at these meetings, Don Frost would speak and kind of just give a presentation?
No, actually, Don Frost didn't speak. He actually is a phenomenal speaker, but they had, what's his name? 2 guys, one's a younger guy, and he would do a little bit of a health talk, the story behind the story of the Daniel 2 image, right, with Daniel 1. And then Kim Kerr, I don't know if you guys know who Kim Kerr is, he's from Washington. He would give the Daniel 2 talk. So, yeah.
I didn't like to interrupt.
Yes.
The person who said they wanted to do more, did you have a number? or anything to promote?
No, because I didn't really have anything. That's one thing that
Or give them a website or something that they can do.
yeah. Everyone that came went away with a great controversy, and I think there might have been some information inside that, but I'm not sure. Also,
Always in fax, flyers usually have an address on.
yes,
So they
usually.
take some.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The guy that we sat next to actually that night, after he got his great controversy, he came and shook our hands and said, "Thank you so much for inviting me. This was amazing." And it was just like we were bouncing off the walls. So I told Mom when I got back that this was probably my absolute favorite mission trip. And she just asked me this morning. She was like, "Why? Why was it your favorite mission trip?" And I said, "Well, I think 2 reasons. Number one is that we work together so well as a group. We're just like, okay, we want to do this, let's go do it." And we just went forward and we made it happen. We had the same purpose and the same goal. And the other thing was that even though Las Vegas is such a tough crowd, we still had people come, we still had people ask that were interested and excited about learning about spiritual things. So that was really neat to see from such a tough area, right? Now, not all of us can go to Las Vegas, but there are outreach opportunities all over the place. And one of them in particular, I want to encourage all of you to be a part of, is this Canada Day. This Canada Day, we're doing a GLOW campaign. We'll have those What Makes Canada Great glow tracks, and at Millennium Park on July 1st at 4 p.m. is the big Castlegar Canada Day event, and so that's where we're going to be at. I encourage all of you to come, and I'm going to pass around this sign-up sheet. Put your name, contact information, and your shirt size, because we can order shirts so we all are matching. And yeah, I'm really excited about this opportunity. It's incredible how doing outreach changes the people that you are doing it with, of course, that you're sharing with, but how much it changes you as well. Sometimes it's really easy to forget how much fun it is too, right? When you haven't done it in a while, you're like, oh, it's just so much work, it's gonna be so much walking, and I'm shy, you know? And then when you actually get out and do it, you can be reminded of how much fun it is, how fulfilling it is to get out and do outreach.